They said, "The dog has been left alone for months after its owner passed away, and the dog is still waiting for her owner to wake up." What will happen next with the dog? Stay tuned for today's story on Pets in Love and find out. It all started with an urgent plea. we.a.c.t. Korea received a distressing report about a dog on the brink of starvation. "The dog has been left alone for months after its owner passed away," the message read. The dog's owner, who had suffered from a chronic illness, had passed away. After the funeral, the owner's relatives showed no interest in caring for Scarlet. The apartment remained locked, and the dog was left to wait for a return that would never come. She lay in silence, alone, thinking her beloved owner would walk through the door. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as the dog's frail body wasted away, waiting for the life she had known to return. It was only after months of suffering that the rescue team was called in. When they arrived, they found a dog on the edge of death, but with an unspoken glimmer of hope in her eyes. Before Scarlet, named later by rescuer, became the face of resilience and recovery. Scarlet lived in a small apartment with her owner, who had suffered from a chronic illness for years. Scarlet was her constant companion, her eyes always filled with loyalty and love. Despite the illness that made her owner weak and frail, the two shared a deep bond, with the woman providing whatever care and affection she could offer, even in her declining health. But when her owner passed away, the world Scarlet had known was shattered. Even though received the cold ignorance of the owner's relatives, and her body became weaker and weaker, yet she never gave up, always waiting, always hoping. The call for help came through late one afternoon, a cry for mercy for a dog on the brink of death. we.a.c.t. Korea was alerted to the dire situation of a dog, named Scarlet, who had been left alone in an apartment after her owner passed away. Tracking down Scarlet's location was not easy. When the rescuers contacted the individual who had taken temporary charge of her, they were met with a chilling response. "Come and look at the dog's condition first, then decide if you want to take this dog." It was clear that Scarlet's situation was dire. Upon arrival, the rescue team found Scarlet barely clinging to life. Weighing only 8 pounds, she was skeletal, with every bone in her fragile body visible. Her eyes, clouded with ulcers, reflected years of suffering. As they gently lifted her fragile body into the car, they could only pray she would hold on a little longer. Time was running out, but the team was determined to give her a fighting chance. The road ahead would be long, but Scarlet's journey toward healing had just begun. They quickly rushed her to the veterinary clinic. The diagnosis was grim. Her liver, kidneys, pancreas, and other vital organs were severely damaged. She could barely breathe, and her body was on the verge of shutting down. The doctors worked quickly to stabilize her, but her life hung in the balance. They had never seen a case quite like hers. Her eye was severely ulcerated, and the rest of her body was simply too frail to withstand the strain. The team named her Scarlet, inspired by the superhero's strength and resilience. They sang songs of hope to her and gently held her fragile body, careful not to hurt her brittle bones. For the first few days, the doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her. Fluids, blood transfusions, and medications were administered in an effort to keep her alive. Scarlet was so weak that she could barely lift her head. It was touch and go. The team had to be extra cautious, taking care not to exert any pressure on her fragile frame. Her bones were so brittle that a single wrong movement could cause injury. They set up a special care plan to monitor her constantly, making sure she was receiving the right amount of support without overwhelming her already failing body. In these first few days, there was no certainty. The team was prepared for the worst, but they also held onto a faint hope. Despite her dire condition, there was something about Scarlet, an unspoken will to survive that kept her going. The doctors, though skeptical, cautiously hoped for a miracle. But the reality was clear. The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Scarlet had a long, hard road to recovery if she survived at all. Then, on the 5th day, a miracle happened. After days of being unconscious and fighting to hold on to life, Scarlet showed the first signs of improvement. It started with a flicker of movement, a slight twitch in her paw. Slowly, her eyelids fluttered, and she opened her eyes, dazed, confused, but alive. For the first time in what seemed like forever, Scarlet was awake. The team was overjoyed, but they knew this was only the beginning of her recovery. She had a long way to go. Scarlet's body was weak, and her muscles had atrophied from months of neglect. She was unable to stand on her own, and her breathing was still shallow. However, the fact that she was now conscious and alert was a huge step forward. The doctors in the we.a.c.t Korea team carefully monitored her, providing her with supplemental oxygen and gentle care. Her gaze, once clouded with pain, now showed a spark of curiosity and hope. For the first time in weeks, she seemed to recognize the voices around her. Each day brought small improvements. Scarlet began to move her legs slightly, and her breathing became more regular. Though she was far from out of the woods, the progress she showed in those early days of recovery was enough to inspire those around her. The medical team and her rescuers began to believe that Scarlet might just have the strength to pull through. As Scarlet's body began to stabilize, the focus shifted to her rehabilitation. Her muscles, severely weakened from months of neglect, needed intense therapy to regain strength. The doctors, impressed by her spirit, devised a careful plan to help her recover. Scarlet was gently introduced to physical therapy, which included TENS, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, therapy, and hydrotherapy. These treatments would help rebuild her muscle mass and improve circulation, giving her the chance to regain her strength. For the first few days, every movement was a struggle. Scarlet's legs were shaky, and her body was so fragile that even standing for short periods exhausted her. But her determination was remarkable. With each session, she showed signs of improvement, and her caregivers were there to cheer her on every step of the way. Despite the pain and fatigue, she never gave up. Scarlet's rehabilitation wasn't limited to just physical therapy. Her mental recovery was just as important. She had been through unimaginable trauma, and her spirit needed to heal as well. She was surrounded by love and care at the clinic, receiving gentle strokes and soothing words to comfort her. This emotional support played a vital role in her recovery, and soon her once dull eyes began to shine with curiosity and trust. Each day, her appetite improved, and she began to eat with enthusiasm. Another key sign of her gradual return to health. As her body grew stronger, so did her will to live, and the transformation from a frail, defeated dog to one filled with hope and resilience began. The transformation in Scarlet was nothing short of miraculous. As she gained strength and her body began to heal, her personality began to shine through. The once frail and timid dog that had only known suffering now showed an infectious curiosity and joy. Her appetite grew, and she devoured her meals with enthusiasm, a stark contrast to the dog that had barely been able to lift her head weeks earlier. Her playful nature began to emerge too. Scarlet started to wag her tail at the sight of her caregivers, eager to interact and engage. The once quiet, exhausted dog had become more animated, showing interest in her surroundings. She would occasionally try to hop around, her movements a bit unsteady at first, but full of energy. Every day, she became more confident in her ability to move, her legs gaining strength and stability. The clumsy, wobbly steps that once symbolized her fragility now reflected a newfound vigor. She started to enjoy simple things, like being petted and going for short walks. Scarlet's playful antics, even though sometimes awkward, brought joy to everyone around her. She'd gleefully chase after a ball or wag her tail excitedly when a leash appeared, signaling a new adventure. This transformation was a beautiful reminder that with the right care, a once broken spirit could be rekindled. After months of struggle, Scarlet's transformation was complete. She was no longer the fragile, defeated dog who had waited hopelessly in the dark for rescue. Now she was full of life, joy, and love. Her body had grown stronger, and her spirit had healed. Her playful energy was contagious, and her affectionate nature warmed the hearts of everyone who met her. Now in a loving foster home, Scarlet is finally experiencing the life she had longed for. She enjoys the warmth of a cozy bed, the company of humans who cherish her, and the opportunity to explore the world with excitement and wonder. Her journey has been long, but it is one of resilience and strength, and it is only just beginning. Scarlet's new life is a testament to the power of hope, love, and second chances. Her future is bright, and she is ready to embrace it with all the joy and playfulness she deserves. That's the end of the story today. What did you think of Scarlet's incredible journey? Does it inspire you to make a difference in the lives of animals in need? We'd love to hear your thoughts on Scarlet's story. Thank you for being part of this journey. If you find our video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Finally, don't forget to turn on our bell and subscribe to our channel Pets in Love so you don't miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.